Now this fight opens with a lot of ads, and they're not particularly dangerous. I mean, you just want to make sure you get threat on all of them as best you can. Make sure you have a cooldown running, especially if you have threat on all of them. And once you get through this phase, get all these ads killed, you're basically just going to be waiting for the boss. And from there, you're going to be heading to a corner and waiting for the next phase of the fight. Now from here, Corruptor 0 comes down, and his major mechanic is the mine. He's going to put a mine on a player that's furthest from him, so that's why everyone's going to stack on the boss. So when someone gets a mine, it's just instantly cleared, because when you have the mine, the way to clear it is to run to the boss, and so by staying stacked on the boss, it eliminates that. Now as you can see here, we have ranged ads, so we need to go around the corner, line of sight them here. The boss starts in melee, and his ads will always be opposite of his starting phase. So if he's melee, they'll be ranged. So line of sight, maybe pop out, throw out an AoE taunt, pop a cooldown, do your best to hold threat, and do as much damage as you can to the ads with your DPS and heals working as well. And from here, there's also a stacking debuff, so your off tank will be taunting off of you at about 4 stacks. Corruptor 0 would be putting this on you as well. And eventually he's going to go into a red circle phase, a gravity field, and you're going to be needing to get out of this ASAP because it does tons of damage, and as soon as it clears you got to run right back to the boss because the mine mechanic is still active, so keep that in mind. And he has this missile phase where he blasts all these missiles into the sky. They really don't do enough damage to matter. You can still stay stacked, pretty much ignore this mechanic. Next we can see the ads are melee now. The boss has switched to ranged mode. He'll be doing chest laser, which the healers will be cleansing off of you. And the melee ad that you just saw there in the middle did an AoE stun somewhere outside the group, which was nice, but if it does get into the group, it will stun the entire group right before that gravity field goes off, and that can be very problematic. So when the ads are melee, I should say, you don't need to line of sight. You can just stand there, the boss and the ads will all be there. You just stay on them, AoE them down, get out of the gravity field, and from here it's pretty much rinse repeat. It's gonna go to the other cycle next. Once he switches to melee, the next group of ads will be ranged. You'll need to line of sight. You need to be taking care of the mine. You'll need to be swapping at about 4 stacks, and you also need to generally just be aware of your positioning so that you don't accidentally get a little too far away and have the mine on you, which will do AoE damage to the entire raid. And so this fight's very static. It's just going to go from one phase to the next, back and forth, and as the tank, you're primarily trying to keep these healers from getting nuked, because as they're doing their AoE heals and whatnot, they're going to be generating a lot of threat. And so sometimes it's better to wait until some of that healing aggro has gone out and you can see the healers are taking damage, run out, throw that AoE taunt, and get that attention, and make sure you tuck yourself nice and tight against the corner there to further enhance how tight the pack is. The ranged DPS should be taking care of the repair bots, so you really shouldn't be worrying about that as a tank. But if you want to help out, if you're on an assassin or a power tech, you could use harpoon or force pull to pull in one of those ads to help as well. It can be a benefit. But just be mindful that while you're doing these things, you don't want to forget about the gravity field during that phase. And from there, you just keep going. Now one thing to note is you want to make sure that all the ads are dead before you push him into the final phase where he does his unified massive beam laser attack, because if you don't kill all the ads, a lot of times what happens is you're going to be on the boss, DPSing him, he's going to go up. You may not notice in all the confusion of the ads that the beam is even going out, not to mention that a pair of ads spawn when he does that phase, so now you'll have double packs of ads if you don't take care of them correctly. And so you just want to make sure you get all that down before. And as you can see here, the ads have spawned. They're on targeting the healers primarily at the moment, so we're just letting them come in. Tanks are going to pick them up, and you're just going to be moving back and forth. You're not going to be DPSing those ads. It's primarily the tank's job at that point to just get some threat on them, AoE taunt, and just keep moving back and forth. The DPS in this instance are doing a good job of dropping AoE damage when they can in between the laser phases. And as soon as he does all his laser chess attacks, you just get in on him, kill him. And there won't be any mines. He'll do chest laser, that'll be cleansed, and you'll still swap at the 4 stacks. But for the most part, the fight's pretty much over, and you can claim his loot. And just another thing about that laser phase you saw earlier, it's going to start at 29%, at least the phase will. He doesn't immediately jump up at 29%, but once you push him past that threshold, that's when he's going to be shortly after going into that laser phase. So just keep that in mind. Well, that's pretty much the fight from a tanking perspective. There's other aspects to the fight and other roles, but thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe.
SWTOR.